Hello everyone! Today we are doing my 9 and 10 month postpartum update. I didn't get last month's update in for 9 months, so I decided to just go ahead and do another combo because those always just seem to work. Plus we didn't have a ton to report on last month. He did reach a couple different milestones, but we basically spent the entirety of 9 months for him being sick and dealing with an ear infection. Actually, all 4 of my kids developed an ear infection and they were all really sick. I always know when they get ear infections because it almost comes in the form of like a cold, like cold symptoms. Oh, chewing on my makeup. It's a way to distract a baby. Anyway, so all 4 of them were really sick and they all ended up having to be on antibiotics for ear infections, and that was like a really crazy chaotic time because all of them were really sick. They ended up, Parker and Shaden both ended up missing quite a bit of school because of it, and Parker and Shaden both have allergies to certain antibiotics, so they all 4 had to be on different antibiotics with different dosages that had to be taken at different times of day, so it was all really kind of a chaotic time. We almost had to go to an ENT doctor, which stands for ears, nose, and throat. His ear infection basically lasted for 4 weeks and he ended up having an allergic reaction to one of the antibiotics as well. He had like 4, technically 5 rounds of antibiotic, and so it was just really crazy. He ended up spending all of his 9 months being really sick. So here we are at 10 months old doing the update because he feels so much better now. We finally got rid of it, huh? And he is back to his happy self, whereas before he was just miserable and feverish and he was just not himself. He was just super sick, sleeping all the time, not eating very well, feverish all the time. We went back to the doctors. Gosh, like every single week we were in the doctors. But anyway, so that is done now. We just had a doctor's appointment yesterday and checked out his ears. He's all good. We just had his well child checkup and he is doing phenomenal. He's growing in all the right ways. He's meeting all of his milestones, huh? So we are doing really well. And since we are talking about milestones, we might as well just go ahead and add that into our update and touch base on some of the ones that he has done the past couple months. So I believe last month I already talked about how he was able to clap his hands, I think. I should go back and like watch that because I don't even remember. It's been so long I don't even remember what I talked about. But anyway, so he knows how to clap his hands very well and he loves doing that. Hi. Hi. Are you trying to see me? Hi. I'm trying to look at the camera. I also have my baby calendar here, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these before. I post about it on my Instagram, which, by the way, if you don't follow me, you should do that now. I posted this on my Instagram back when I was like pregnant with him because I have one of these for every single one of my kids. It's so much more convenient to do rather than a baby book. So it's basically, you start out with like a blank calendar and then most of the time they come with stickers. He doesn't want to be in my lap anymore. He wants to crawl around. Ever since he's been mobile, he wants to go. Okay. So anyway, so I have one of these for each of my kids and they basically you start out with a blank calendar. And most of them come with stickers or sometimes you can write it in and then you just like write in, you start with the month that they're born, which obviously for Zuko was, hold on, let me get to it, was July. So we start in July and then it's just a 13-month calendar that goes in. You write in all the numbers on the dates and then they usually come with stickers in the very back that have like a bunch of different like milestones, like the ones that we have left on here. Let's see. Like eats cereal, eats veggies, eats fruits, first caregiver, waves bye-bye for the first time. Here's a sticker for doctor visit and how much they weigh and their height. Stands alone for the first time, which I actually have to talk about in this episode. You know, stuff like that. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. But that's what I'm using to keep track of like all of his milestones and when they happen. And you just stick like this one. It says Dada for the first time. Can you see that? It says Dada for the first time, and that was May 12th. He's being super loud down there. Our baby always. So anyway, so I've got my baby calendar to check when he was doing all of this, just to make sure that I'm in the right time frame. Anyway, and I've also got my notes here, because if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember it. There's just too many things to keep track of. He learned how to clap his hands. We already covered that. Okay, so anyway, so one of his most favorite games to play right now is whenever he has like an item, one of his most favorite things to do is throw it on the floor and watch Cody or I pick it up and give it back to him, and he could play that for like hours. Just throw it on the floor and watch us pick it up. Throw it on the floor, watch us pick it up. And it's one of his most favorite things to play with, and he will just laugh hysterically whenever we play that game with him, which can be quite tiring actually to constantly pick up an item and quite tedious, but you know, it's for the kids, so, and it's one of his most favorite things to play. He is now able to say mama, dada, and baba. I feel like I already covered this in a past update, but he does know how to say mama. That was actually his first word. But if I didn't cover it already, he does know how to say it. I don't even remember when he says it, and apparently I didn't mark it on my calendar, which I need to go back and figure that out. So, but yeah, so he can say mama, which was his first word, and he knows how to say dada. See? And he also knows how to say baba really well. So he likes to chatter a lot. He's doing really, really well at the baby talk. He also has 4 teeth now. His first tooth came in at 9 months old, and it was one of the bottom ones, and then the second one came in shortly after that. So the 2 bottom ones came in like within like a week of each other, the 2 bottom ones did. And then he also got in just like a couple, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he got this the top one here, which I don't know if you can even see. I don't know if you can see, like, so he's got this one up here, and then this tooth right here, and then you could see that this tooth's coming in, these 2 teeth are here. He does not like me playing with his teeth, but he's got 1 tooth here, and then the one right next to it, and the other 2 teeth are coming in, and it's so cute. He looks so dorky, but in a cute way when he smiles, because he's just got like the 1 tooth, and it looks, oh, what did you do? There you go. So anyway, so so when he smiles, it looks like super, super dorky, and Cody and I laugh at it all the time because it's like, it's really cute, but it's also really dorky that he only has just like the 1 tooth there, but the other one is coming in soon. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Are you singing with me? He is also still nursing exclusively, and when I say exclusively, I don't mean just breast milk, because he is on table foods now. We are doing the baby-led weaning approach, which I think I've mentioned. He wasn't doing that great at it before, but he basically, every time the older kids eat something, or every time we eat something, he basically eats what we eat, just in like very small, tinier, bite-sized portions. Because he just really did not like to be spoon-fed. He didn't really take to purees that well. So we decided to go the baby-led weaning route because he liked to pick up his own food. What, you want to get down now? But yeah, so he is nursing exclusively, and by that I mean no formula. So he's just on breast milk and table food. So like I said, he did have a well child checkup yesterday, and I did get all of his measurements. Hold on, let me just grab it really fast. Okay, and I always had them write it down for me on a sticky note. They're always so good about that. Okay, so he weighed 19 pounds and 3 ounces, 27.5 inches long. They actually wrote down all sorts of information for me. His head circumference is 18.25 inches. His temperature was 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. His pulse was 128, and his respiration was 32. So yeah, so all sorts of nice tidbits of information for you. Like I said, he's meeting all of his milestones really, really well. He's super, super happy, healthy baby, especially now that we've got the ear infection out of the way. But if he does have another ear infection, because this was ear infection, I think technically 3 or 4, plus it lasted like 4 weeks because the antibiotics. We tried like 4, technically 5 different kinds of antibiotics, because they tried the Ceftonir, which just it kind of like made it go away, but then it was still like pink. They said it was still pink in his ears, so they wanted to get him on like a lower antibiotic to just make sure that they got rid of it. So they put him on amoxicillin, and that did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. It actually made the ear infection come back worse. It went from like pink to like bright red in his ears. So then we put him back on Ceftonir, but then he was so sick by that point that it just didn't work. And then we tried an augmented antibiotic, and he was on that for 2 days before he had an allergic reaction and broke out in hives everywhere. I'm sorry if I keep looking in this direction. I'm trying to like pay attention to you and pay attention to him. But anyway, so he had an allergic reaction to the augmented antibiotic, so we put him on zithromycin, and that was just it must have been a really strong antibiotic, because he was only on that for 5 days, and it was a very, very small dose, and that kicked it right out. So zithromycin worked wonders, finally got it kicked. So glad that that's over with. But if he does get any other ear infection, we are gonna have to go see an ENT doctor. He crawls like a pro, which I think you guys already know, because he was already crawling by 8 months, but he crawls everywhere and just wants to go, go, go. He is just on the move all the time. He hardly wants me to hold him anymore because he just wants me going and playing with his brothers, especially. That he always wants to be where they're at, and he always is just like exploring everything. Doesn't really like to be held anymore, which is actually like really bittersweet. But yeah, so he's on the go, crawls like a pro, probably gonna be walking soon. Oh, I swear to God, speaking of walking soon, that he stood on his own for like 10 seconds. It was actually really funny because I was at the doctor's appointment I was actually at an appointment for Shaden and Lyric at our Department of Health. Whenever I go over there, the breastfeeding counselor always just kind of peeks in on me. We're kind of friends, and we were actually talking and chatting the other day, and I was trying to hold him up because he wanted me to hold him by the arms, but I was standing just holding on to his arms, and then he just kind of like pushed my hands away, and I was just like, oh, okay, and then he just stood there for like, I swear, like 10 seconds by himself. And so I know that he can do it. He hasn't done it since, but I know that he can stand by himself, and he was totally okay. He was just kind of like I can do this, I'm totally fine. And it was nice that I had a witness that could see it too. So he can stand by himself now. I don't really think that I have anything else to update on. He still does have his red hair. I don't know if you could tell in the camera, but he does have still his bright red hair. And it must be such like a rare thing to see out in public, like a baby with red hair, because we cannot go anywhere out in public without someone stopping us and asking about it. I think especially because I'm usually by myself with him or with the other kids, and nobody else in our family has red hair, especially me. I have like very dark features. And so anywhere we go, it's just like someone always has to be stopping and remarking. They're like, oh my gosh, he's got red hair, and where did that come from, and stuff like that. So if it's not someone stopping me to ask if all my kids are boys and if they're all mine, then it's someone to stop me and ask where his red hair came from. He must be quite the sight walking around the grocery store. So that's all I have really to update on for Zuko. Oh, he's coming back. You want to come back? Can't decide what you want, huh? So that's really all I have to update on for Zuko. For me, I don't have literally anything to update on. I'm not interesting. Who are we kidding? My weight is still the same. I'm not really active at all, and I tend to eat some not so healthy stuff. Most of my meals include like on-the-go stuff, you know, things that I don't have to actually like eat or take time to eat, because who has time for that? So probably not the best, healthiest choices, right? So my weight is still the same. Nothing's changed with that. Oh, I did get my first postpartum period at exactly 10 months old. Hold on, he has a poopy diaper. And we're back. Okay. Had to put my hair up because it was like dingling in his face and he kept pulling on it. So, hashtag mom life, right? Don't mind me nursing him. He was just getting a little fussy. That's something I should have added for his update. Raise your hand if you have a child who makes diaper changes impossible. Like I said, he's go, 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 and diaper changes are so frustrating for the both of us because he wants to flip over and crawl away with poop on his butt, and I want him to sit still so I can get the diaper on. Back to me. I started my first postpartum period at exactly 10 months old. He's 10 months and 7 days now, so you can imagine where the dates line up. So 10 months old, and now I'm officially done with it. And so that was kind of a surprise. It actually wasn't bad, like, at all. I was expecting something much, much worse, especially since, like, I've had kids, and some people talk about how your periods get much worse with kids, like, after you have kids, and, like, how cramps are much worse and stuff like that. But anytime I've had a postpartum period, which hasn't been very often because between being pregnant, breastfeeding, and then just having irregular periods anyway, which I think I've mentioned before, I have had maybe a grand total of 5 menstrual cycles in the last 7 years. But whenever I have had one, they've been so mild compared to before I had kids. Before kids were like horrible, horrible cramps, like fetal position cramps, very, very, very heavy bleeding for at least a good 3 to 4 days, still pretty heavy flow even on my light days. After I've had kids, I have like maybe 1, possibly 2 days of heavy flow, and my cramps are so mild. Yeah, my cramps are so mild compared to, you know, before I had kids, and then obviously like child labor. So other than that, that's really all I have to talk about my period. But so I did have that. Very, very, like, not that big of a deal. I was still basically able to go about my business as normal as possible. What else can I talk about? Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty great. It's been super warm and sunny out, which always lifts my mood up. Like, I am definitely prone to like winter blues and that kind of stuff, and it always makes me feel just very like the day is dragging on, and I hate being cold. Like, I really, really hate being cold. So, but it's been pretty warm out. We had a pretty mild winter this year, and summer started pretty early for us. So this was just like a really good year for me. So I guess it was just a really good year to have a baby compared to like the last 2 babies where we had really long, horrible winters for like the last 4 years before he came, and they were really long and it was just dark out all the time. There was no sun. I was feeling sad all the time. But lately I've just been feeling really great, and I don't think that I have anything else to report on. As soon as he's done nursing though, I will show you my 10-month postpartum belly, which should be at its like skinniest right now because I just got done with my period, which means that like all of the bloat and everything that all of that should be done with, and so I should be at like my skinniest right now, so that's awesome. So this is 10 months postpartum with the shirt on, and this is 10 months postpartum with the shirt off. So that's all I have for my 10-month update today. Make sure that you guys go ahead and click that like button. Please leave me comments in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already. Hit that bell button if you are, so you don't miss any future updates. And follow me on all my social medias. And I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye guys.